Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is the next installment for the betrothal, like goddess betrothed Deku. That being said, let's get into our story. So, in our last part, Izuku and Beledande, they found out that they had been betrothed since before they even knew each other. And that whole thing went down. So where our story is going to start in this one is 2 days before the start of the anime. The Midoriyas have the Momoros over for dinner. Well, Beledande and her parents. Her older sister is kind of babysitting their younger sister. Because this is more of a business dinner to discuss the whole engagement thing. So the Momoras arrive, Deku answers the door, invites them in, greets them properly, and everything. And, well, the Momoras kind of have brought a little gift for the Midoriyas. So, during... One moment, I've got to look up what this is called again. So the Momoras have brought a dowry for Beledande because they're like, well, humans do this, right? And that's what they're kind of thinking. So the dinner starts, and then afterwards they have the talk. And they ask Izuku and Beledande what they think of being engaged. And Izuku's kind of blushing, and then he kind of looks at Beledande, and she's just smiling at him. And Izuku musters up the courage, and he turns to his parents and basically the people that will become his in-laws. And he says, well, we've talked about it, Mom and Dad, as he's looking at his parents. And, well, we never, we just recently started going out. And, well, we never really thought about marriage. But he turns to Beledande and says, if it's okay with you, I'm okay with it as well. And Beledande smiles and says she's totally fine with it. So they finish up the evening, and towards the end, Mr. Mamoru asks to speak with Hasashi alone, and his family goes out, and Mamoru basically hands Hasashi an envelope, and he says, wait until next year to open this. And Sasha's like, what is this? And Mr. Mamoru, he says, well, it's little Beladande's dowry. Like, they pretty much agree to get married. And, well, they want to get married after high school. So just keep it until they at least start high school, and you can return the envelope if they end up splitting. Because Hisashi kind of laughs. It's like, yeah, we shouldn't push them to be together if they don't want to, you know? And Mora kind of laughs at this and does his little like, grin that their family kind of has. And afterwards, Beledande, like, after he comes into his family, like, and he teleports them to their home, Beladande's like, Dad, that was so embarrassing. Why? And Beladande's mother says, well, sweetie, we needed to go through that whole thing if you two are to be together. Yeah, but why didn't you tell them? And this is when her father speaks up and says, well, sweetie, that's for a later time. Until it's confirmed that you two are going to be together, we should keep the family secret a secret, at least until then. And, well, young Midoriya. He seems like a good boy. And, well, he would be the only one he would be the first one to find out. And it'd be up to him to tell, it'd be up to you and him to tell his parents. So now we skip to the start of the anime. And, well, Izuku is at school, the whole thing with the papers and everything happened. And when the teacher says there's actually 3 of you that is wanting to go to UA. And everyone kind of says, yeah, there's 2. Like, Baka is like, teach, don't be, don't, like, lump me in with these losers. There's only, that, like, I'm gonna be going to UA simply because it's the only school that's worthy of me. And this is when the teacher says, oh yes, and Moro, like, Midoriya, you two applied to UA as well, right? And class is, like, shocked, and they say, it's like, what, the quirkless kid's gonna go? And this is when Bakugo pipes up, and he's like, man, shut your guys' mouth. I don't like the kid, and he's not going for the hero course, he's going for the support class. And all the kids begin to think, it's like, yeah, that's right. Midoriya, he's really good at, like, making support items. Like, he made Bakugo that, like, gauntlet and everything. So Izuku, like, the class clears out, and towards the end, after everyone's, like, gone, Katsuki walks up to Izuku and explodes, like, his exploding his hand, putting it on his desk, and he says, Deku, you better freaking get in. Like, if you don't, I'm never gonna talk to you ever again. You're a damn good person, and, well, you're not going for the hero course, so you realize that you can't do that. This kind of irks Izuku a little bit, but then Bellodande walks up, and Izuku kind of smiles, and Katsu's like, whatever, 2 lovebirds. And he walks off, which kind of makes both of them blush a little bit. And Bellodande asks, like, so, do you want to hang out after school? And Izuku's like, no, I kind of want to be on my own. I have a lot of things to think about. So, Izuku spends, like, a good 30 minutes after everyone has left, and he goes on a walk. And he's just thinking, it's like, damn, like, I'm engaged, we're going to get married after high school, and he's just thinking on these things, and then he notices that he can't breathe, and then he realizes he's been attacked by a sludge villain, and he's fighting with it, and he manages to free himself, and the sludge villain's like, get back here, kid, I need your body, I need to hide from him, like, I didn't know the freak was in town. And right as he goes to jump at Izuku, he does catch him, but before he can engulf him again, you just hear, do not fear, for I am here, as All Might comes in and smashes the villain, knocking him back and sputtering himself. While All Might is gathering the sludge villain, Izuku is is kind of fanboying out, and All Might gets the sludge villain up, and Izuku asks for a autograph, because All Might is his favorite hero. And Izuku begins to think, like, wait, I have a question. And before All Might jumps off, Izuku, he asks him a question, and All Might's like, young man, like, you being quirkless, it would be highly difficult for you to be a hero. And also, All Might begins to, like, cough up some blood, and he's like, shit, and he deflates. Or, no, wait a minute, I'm not gonna do that, that's crap. I jumped ahead of my notes. Sorry about that. Retcon the past 30 seconds. So Izuku asks him if he can be a hero. And he's like, All Might tells him, he's like, you won't be able to be a hero being quirkless, but you said you were going to UA for the sport class. That would be a good fit for you, young man. Who knows, maybe one day you can invent something that would help you out. In any case, I've got to go. He begins to cough up like a little blood, and he's thinking, shit, I've got to hurry. So he puts a little bit more force into his jump than he would have done in canon. And when he lands on the roof, All Might is feeling around on his side, and he's like, crap! It must have fell out. I've got to search for it. And Izuku's a little disheartened, but he still is going to go to UA, and he is fully intended on going to the sport course. So, stop here. Izuku, like I said, he's not your average Japanese kid. He's 6 foot, and he has a lot of muscle. Like, he's pretty muscular. And, well, how's his character. This is the best photo I could find. I believe this is pulled from the anime. So all rights go to Akira Toriyama and the studio that produces the anime for this. That being said, let's get back into our story. So All Might, then hears, an explosion, and he's like, crap! And Izuku, hearing the explosion, does kind of run towards it, because he's like, heroes, because he is a hero fanboy, still. And when he arrives there, he notices a kind of sickly old man, but he doesn't really pay too much attention to that. He's more paying attention to the heroes that are fighting. And then, they jump back, and Water Hose does the whole, blocking off the area, basically sending out a water structure that puts a line, and the heroes get knocked back, and there's explosions going off, and Izuku's like, whoa, what kind of quirk does this dude have? And then he sees the villain, he's like, no, it can't be. All Might caught him. Wait, he got distracted with me when he was leaping off. It's my fault. He escaped, and then he hears the heroes like, he's got a kid. Our quirks aren't suited for this. And Izuku's like, wait, explosions. He has a hostage? And then he catches eyes with Katsuki, and he's like, no, it's Kacchan. He has Kacchan. And before he can even think, his body begins to react, and he just runs. He throws his backpack, and because of his physical strength that he has, he's able to do more damage to the villain's eyes, and it begins to writhe a little bit in pain. He's grasping at the sludge, pulling it away. And then he grabs on the Bakugo's chest, and he says, Kacchan, do it now! And Katsuki releases a big explosion, knocking him and Deku away. And before the sludge villain can attack them, retaliate and attack them, the sludge villain is literally diving to them, All Might jumps in and says, do not fear, for I am here. Detroit, smash! Basically changing the weather like in canon. And All Might's thinking, wow, the kid's quirkless. Maybe, definitely. And before the media can, they're praising Kacchan for surviving for so long, and then basically telling Izuku that he was reckless and everything. And Izuku was, kind of defeated by this. And he did want, All Might did want to speak with him, but he was basically dealing with media and everything. On his way home, he's stopped by Katsuki, and he's like, Deku, thanks, but don't think I owe you anything for saving me back there. And Katsuki goes off like in canon, and then he's approached by the sickly old man that he saw. And he's like, wait, I've seen you before. Wait, you were back there at the attack. Wait, are you in leagues with that guy? And this is when All Might buffs up, and he's like, ha ha ha, young man, I have to apologize to you. And then he buffs back down, and he's like, wait, you're a fake. You are and All Might's like, no, rest assured, young man. And All Might explains his injury and everything, and he says, young man, back there, you showed the courage of a hero. And, well, I want to pass my power down to you. And Izuku's like, wait, what? And so All Might explains one for all to him, and Izuku hears his idol. All Might busts back up, and he's like, young man, you have the potential to become a great hero. And, well, I want to train you for this work. Do you accept my offer? And with the greatest, with tears streaming down his face, he says, more than anything, All Might, I want to be a hero. You're the inspiration of why I want to. All Might laughs, and he hands Izuku a piece of paper, and he says, meet me here tomorrow, young man, and keep it a secret. So, the next day after school, Izuku is asked by Betrothed if they want to hang out, and he kind of shoots her down and says, well, I already had plans, and I kind of got to get going. I'm a little late. Katsuki takes notice about this because the two lately have been kind of pretty much attached at the hip, and Izuku rushes out of class, basically forgetting one of his notebooks. And Katsuki sees this, and he picks it up, and he hands it to Betrothed, saying, you should drop this off at your boyfriend's house. I've got things to do. I'm going to be hanging out with my friends, otherwise I'd do it myself. Well, then he kind of blushes at this and says, wow, Kachan, you've really changed. You're so... And Katsuki just glares at her and is like, don't say it! So, Betrothed walking, and she gets to the Midoriya's residence, and Inko's like, oh, Betrothed, you're here. Where's Izuku? And she's like, I don't know. He kind of left after class. And, well, in any case, he left us at school. And Inko goes, oh man, that kid, he's so scatterbrained sometimes. So now we cut to Dagobah Beach. All Might is there, and he tells Izuku to take off his shirt, and when he does, All Might is surprised at Izuku's physique, and he's thinking, wow, he really is. So he's tasked to clean up the beach, and well, Izuku, he will do this in a matter of 2 months. And Izuku, after 2 months, has pretty much cleared out the entire beach. And the day after school, the last day of school, Izuku, a day after school, he's kind of followed by someone, because Betrothed been a little concerned that he may be she's been a little worried about him, so she's going to follow him. They have gone out on a couple of dates, on the days that All Might has told him that he needs to rest, because he does do the whole workout schedule for him and everything, and he has set days of rest. So, on this day, Izuku, he is the day that All Might told him that he would begin his combat training. Basically, All Might's going to start doing hand-to-hand combat training with him. And So Belladandi follows him, and when she's hiding behind some of the trash that hasn't been cleaned up, like it's not fully cleaned, basically Izuku will be finishing up like that day, and he'll get the quirk, and they'll do like a few minutes of sparring and everything, just so like not like them going like All Might going all out, but basically All Might just giving him some instructions about it, like basically going over hero theory and stuff like that with you, while they wait for the court to go in. So when she gets there, she's kind of watching this, and she's like, wait, why is he hanging out with this old man? Wait, that man, he's hurt. And when All Might goes to give Izuku the hair, like basically doing it, he buffs up, and they hear like a gulp, and Izuku's like lowers his eyes, and is like, crap, she's here. And All Might's like, who's there? Come out. And Izuku like kind of rushes over, and he's like, Belladandi, come out. And he turns to All Might, and he's like, All Might, I've got to tell her, like, and All Might's like, oh, you know this person. And Izuku's like, yeah, we're kind of a thing. And All Might's like, oh. And Belladandi's like, oh, so you've been training with All Might. Is that why I thought you didn't like me anymore. And Izuku kind of grabs her and hugs her and is like, Belladandi, even though the promise was made from before we even knew each other, I do intend on marrying her. And All Might kind of gasps and is like, wait, you two are engaged? And Izuku's like, crap. And Belladandi kind of blushes a little bit at this, and she's like, so All Might's been training you to be a hero, right? See, I told you could be a hero. And Izuku's like, yeah, that's not all of that. And so All Might's like, he looks at All Might and is like, I've got to tell her. And before Izuku can explain everything, Belladandi turns to All Might, and she's like, Mr. All Might, you're hurt, aren't you? And All Might deflates, and he's like, young lady, how do you know that? And she's like, I can't tell you, but how are you hurt? And so All Might and Izuku explain the whole thing to her, and she's flabbergasted, and she's like, Izuku, you're getting a quirk? That's amazing. And All Might's shocked by this too, and he's like, what, you're not surprised? And she's like, oh, that's not really too unheard of, really. And so All Might buffs back up and says, eat this, pulling out a hair. Izuku complies. And then when he buffs back down, kind of coughing up blood, Belladandi just rushes over to him and says a prayer, and All Might feels a change. Like, his sides are, like, they're somewhat healed. Like, there's still, like, scar tissue and everything there, but he no longer feels the pressure on his lungs. And he's like, young girl, what did you just do to me? And she's like, I'm sorry, Mr. All Might. I couldn't heal you entirely, but at least you won't be coughing up blood now. All Might thanks her, and Izuku says, All Might, I'm sorry, I should have been more careful. And he's like, it's okay, young man. Young lady, you've got to keep this all a secret. And Belladani's like, yeah, I know, sir. And I'm just happy that and she stops, and she's like, I'm happy Izuku is getting a chance to be a hero. And she hugs him and is like, I'm gonna support you until you're the #1 hero. don't be more careful when you're traveling so no one else follows you. And All Might asks her, is like, so you have a healing quirk? And she's like, not exactly. I can do this. She produces a force field, flies up in the air, teleports to behind him, and then All Might's just freaking flabbergasted at all this. And he's like, what? I didn't know someone had a quirk like that. And Belladendi's like, yeah, our family doesn't really like being in the spotlight. I have the same quirks as my parents. Basically playing her god powers off as a quirk, like she has been doing. And Izuku notices something when she says that, and he starts to suspect some things. So we cut to a month later, and Izuku has cleaned up the beach in its entirety, and All Might and him have started to spar. And one day, Izuku is sparring with All Might, and Belladendi shows up with a lunchbox. So, a huge lunchbox, and she says, oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I thought you two could eat something. And Izuku says, thanks, Bella. And All Might takes notice of how Izuku said it, and he's thinking, it's like, oh, young love. And he thanks her, and All Might says, young Midoriya, that's enough for today. You should, looking at Belladendi, you should spend more time with your loved ones. I do have some things I have to deal with. And All Might jumps off. So Izuku and Belladendi are walking home, and she's like, Izuku, like, you've gotten more buff. And Izuku's like, yeah, like, having a hard time with the quirk. I don't really understand it, but I have been able to use the power a little bit. Though the first time I used it, I kind of sprained my arm. And she's like, is that why you wore that sling for a week? And Izuku's like, yeah. And she kind of taps him on the forehead. Like, you should have told me. I could have helped it. And Izuku's like, no, I didn't want to bother you. And Belladendi just smiles. It's like, Izu, we're meant to get married. Your troubles are mine, and my troubles are yours, right? And Izuku smiles back at her and is like, yeah, definitely. We're gonna be together forever. And at this, like, Belladendi gets knocked back by a blast, and Izuku, like, turns around and sees a weird-looking person. And Belladendi's like, no, like, they weren't supposed to be here. And Izuku's like, what the hell? And he hears the person say, what a great find. A little godless playing with a mortal. And it turns to Izuku, and he's like, I don't care who you are or what you have against Belladendi, but I'm not gonna let you hurt her. Because then he sees like Belladendi, like, a little bit of blood come down her face, and he's like, you hurt her. No. And Izuku throws the biggest smash that he's ever done, blowing this person back and across, like, the sky. And before he can do that, he's impaled with a rod, basically going through his chest. He's going in and out of consciousness, and Belladendi's like, no, not him, no. Heal, please heal. And it's not really working, and Izuku he passes out. And, well, at this time, Belladendi's like, no, Mom, and Dad, they can help him, they can heal him. And she teleports him to their house, and basically Belladendi's mother, like, spits out her tea, and so does her dad. They're like, Belladendi, what's this? And then they see Izuku bleeding, and they're like, no, he can't die, is what his father is thinking. And she, like, Belladendi looks up at her dad, is like, Dad, please help him out. And he walks over and he says, by the powers of the Almighty, heal this mortal's wounds. And they are healed, and Belladendi's mother walks over, takes his vitals and everything, and she looks at her husband, and she says, this young man, he's barely alive. I don't think he'll live through the night. His wounds are healed, but his life energy is very low. And Izuku has been coming in and out of consciousness and everything, and he doesn't really grasp what's coming on, but he feels that, well, I'm going to die. Because he doesn't know, he doesn't have sight, but he does have a hear, but it's kind of muffled. And, well, his father looks down, and he's like, I was going to wait before I do this, but he turns to Belladendi, and he's like, my daughter, is he really the one you want to spend the rest of your life with? And she's like, yes, more than anything, Dad, please, don't let him die. And he walks over to their cabinet, and he pulls out a vial, and Belladendi's like, Dad, is that? And he's like, yeah, it's the only thing that can save him at this time. And, well, I don't know how it's going to interact with his quirk and everything, but he won't die from a low life energy, but he will be out for a few weeks. He will be out for a day or so. Sweetie, call his parents and tell them that he'll be spending the night at our place. Don't tell him what had happened, because we don't need more headache than what's already come. So we cut to the next day, and Izuku's feeling a pressure on his chest. He wakes up, and he kind of freaks out, and he jumps back a little bit. And Belladendi wakes up, and she hugs him again and kisses him, and it's like, you're awake. And she has some tears in her eye. And Izuku's like, what's going on? I thought I died. And this is when he sees her father, and he's like, sir, what's going on? And he's like, young Midoriya, calm down. We have a lot to speak about. And so Izuku is told about them being gods, and he's flabbergasted. And he's like, wait, so does that mean, what am I then? In Miss Momura says, well, young man, you are technically a god now, but with your quirk, we don't know what your abilities and everything will be. I wanted to wait until you two were married to offer this and to tell you everything about our family. You still are interested? And Izuku turns to Belladendi, and she's kind of like looking down, and he walks over to her and he lifts her head up. It's like, Belladendi, I promised you that we'd be together forever, and I guess we'll be together until our lives end. And then he finds out how old she is, and he's like, what? And they explain that gods age differently than mortals. And when they're in the god realm, like, they age very slowly, but in the mortal realm, they'll age until their prime. Izuku's like, so I will age, but I will stop at that. And then Miss Momura says, and young man, you've got to keep this all a secret. And he's thinking, it's like, he looks at Belladendi, and she just smiles at him, and it's like, definitely, sir. I have a few secrets of my own. And this is when Momomura says, it wouldn't happen to be that you got that Toshinori kid's quirk, would it? And Izuku's like, what? How did Belladeni tell you? And Miss Momomura says, young man, it's not that. I had a run-in with him a while ago. Well, more so his mentor, and then I saw him once or twice. But that's a story for a different time. In any case, your parents are probably worried sick with you, because we didn't quite explain it. I would suggest not telling them about. And Izuku looks down and sees a scar on his chest, and he's like, yeah, Mom would probably die if she found out about all of this. So, Izuku does go home. His mom kind of hugs him and asks, so, why'd you spend the night? And Izuku's like, well, Miss Momura wanted to speak with me, and, well, it got too late, and they figured it'd be best if I spent the night. And Inko's is kind of happy. He's like, so you were getting along with them? And Izuku's like, yeah, Mom, everything's fine. And so, this is where I'm going to end this part. So, as some of you can imagine, Izuku just got a massive freaking power boost. And All Might is going to take notice of this in the next subsequent parts. And I will get into the 8-month training arc because Izuku will kind of have Belladeni there. And she will kind of be helping him too because he'll start developing certain powers and everything. And Belladeni's parents kind of told her to kind of help him out and be around him because when they do start manifesting, she can kind of play it off as her abilities a little bit. That being said, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.